following along in the book, another landmine for relationships is housework. And my wife and I definitely experienced this because I brought in what I saw in my household, which was the man had a role that didn't involve too much housework. So,
Yes.
why is this so critical? Eh, Dusting and dishes, it sounds boring and
And it is.
it can be boring, yes.
It is. They're the mundane chores of life, but
Mhm.
they need to be taken care of. And it's a great conversation to have because, like you said, in your own marriage, Jesse, you grew up in a household that was a certain way, and you probably expected it to be that way in your household. And what has happened that over time, when women were homemakers, so they were in the house taking care of the kids and the dishes and everything pertaining to the children, and the house was the responsibility of the woman. Well, now that women are working, and many times women are the breadwinner, but they are still expected to come home and do all the other duties on top of their full-time job. So it can cause a lot of friction in a marriage because women need to relax as well. Women need to take a break. All of us need to take a break. So having that conversation with your spouse is important. If you during your dating life were eating out 3 and 4 times a week, is your partner planning on going into your marriage and continuing eating out 3 and 4 times a week? You know, is that something that's even feasible? So having those conversations ahead of time is going to help you kind of gauge like, okay, is this something that I still want to do? Because here's a story for you, Jesse. I remember my grandfather, love my grandfather, rest his soul, who told me many years ago, you're not married because you don't like to cook. And I remember I fell out laughing because there was a gentleman that I dated. Um, was my grandfather? I think he had already passed when I was dating this one gentleman, and he cooked for me. He loved to cook. And that's an attraction point for me. I love men that love to cook. And I remember thinking, man, I wish my grandfather was alive so I could call him up and tell him which we didn't get married. But it was just the fact that, my grandfather, who was very catered to by my grandmother, she was always in the kitchen, always cooking, always cleaning, always taking care of him. And to him, that's what a wife was. And here's me, I'll make sure that you eat, but I'm not that person that's going to constantly be in the kitchen cooking every breakfast, every lunch, every dinner. That's just not who I am. So for couples, it's important. It's important. Talk about everything regarding the household, who's going to do what, and hold up to your end of the bargain. I will say that as well. Don't just say, yeah, I'm going to do it, and then you don't do it, because then that creates a whole nother argument just at another time.